I am back again. Now, it's time for my continuation of fans, fanboys, and fanfiction. Now, while talking about some of the types of fanboys last night, there was two kind of closely related types that I forgot to talk about. Those types, the type being, well, what I call the fad boy. Now, a fad boy is pretty much just a fanboy of whoever, of just a really popular person, and pretty much once their popularity ends, they just stop caring about them. Now, there's another type of fad boy, except this one, I don't have a name for it, but this one's a bit different. This kind will pretty much be an absolute fan of somebody until that person does something that pisses the fanboy off. For example, let's just say someone, there's a guy who's really popular online, or at least for someone, and that, like, say, a ranter, for example. Now, this type of fad boy will pretty much treat all of their words as fact until they say something that they don't agree with. For example, usually something with politics or religion or something like that. And then, it pisses them off and they go to find a new person. And these type of fad boys are usually some of the worst people to encounter, mostly because, well, when you get down to it, all they're trying to do is find a perfect clone of themselves, which, never happens. Because, well, not everyone's a perfect clone. Well, okay, I can actually think of one person, two people that kind of count as this. A really obnoxious Gmodder called Benella Productions. I don't know how it's pronounced. He makes these really dumb Sonic videos, and he's actually a pretty good transition for fan projects, but he has this pretty much complete opinion clone called Alexander the Swell, who's pretty much an Ego Raptor wannabe in pretty much every way, shape, and form, who is pretty much with the opinions of Benella Productions. Now, here's a good place to start talking about fan projects. Now, most fan projects, as far as I'm concerned, rarely turn out good. The main reason for this is, well, most fans, well, not to say that they're stupid or anything, but more often than not, they don't really understand how a lot of things work, or they just kind of come up with their own ideas of how things should work. And more often than not, it really becomes a mess. Especially for fan fiction, like, there's a reason why it has such a bad reputation. As far as I'm concerned, the main reason for the bad reputation of fan fiction comes from the fact that most people who make it are, well, they're just not good at it. Like, for example, a writer of fan fiction, more often than not, is just not a good writer. So as a result, well, the writing has tons of technical errors to it and, weird inconsistencies to it, and it's some of the weirdest stuff. Usually I'm the last guy to go, it's fan fiction, it's automatically bad, because I've seen some good fan projects, but rarely do they ever work out. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, speaking of that guy, Benella Productions, interesting thing with him is, well, with his one video, it was Sonic and Jaws. Funny thing is, he criticized this one video called Sonic Nazo Unleashed for being bad fan fiction, and then the funny irony of a lot of what he does is pretty much doing the same thing, but it's something everyone, as far as I'm concerned, has a bias to what they made, and they think they know better than everyone else, which is, irritating. But, yeah. It's really weird, but that's kind of what I wanted to talk about with the fad boys. Now, let's move on to the other part of fanboys and fans. Now, here's the exact opposite. The fanboys who don't dedicate themselves, but more or less go out of their way to hate something that a lot of people like. I think I mentioned this last time, that I intentionally ended up causing a bit of a ruckus in an honest trailers of Final Fantasy VII, pretty much calling all the fans, idiots and all that, and pretty much the game dated, which, I don't know, I haven't played it, but anyway. But the funny thing is, with most stuff like this, is when it comes to the big fads, things that are popular, the more and more fanboys they get this really interesting hate, like a fandom can get a hate-dom pretty much equally. Now, the interesting interesting thing about the hatedom is more often than not, they're pretty dumb, just like a fandom can be stupid. I swear the hatedoms for most things tend to get even dumber. And I don't really know what to say for, why a lot of hatedoms can act like this, but I don't know, I think a lot of it comes down to, pretty much the same reasons why crazy fans of something, fanboys get really annoying. Yeah, they take their love of something to such a ridiculous, obsessive extreme where they're so dedicated. I hate dumb pretty much, well, for better words, I hate using this, but a hater would pretty much is a fanboy, but of hating something. Yeah, wrap your mind around that. Spent a few minutes babbling on for that. Now, the interesting thing with the hatedom for me, in most cases is, they have, a good example for something is Egoraptor, who hates anything that's 3D. The interesting thing with a hatedom of something is, they are really quite as, I think they're even more unhealthily obsessed than a fanboy is, someone who loves something. It's really weird to just see someone who's so dedicated to just disliking something. It just seems really off to me. And this kind of has some mix and matches of, it isn't kind of what they wanted out of something, so they interpret it as, it's bad. Yeah. It's anyway, yeah. Now for fan projects, I don't yeah. I'm usually, short and sweet for fan projects, and yeah, I'm going a bit on and off, but for fan projects, as far as I'm concerned, they're fine, just don't really praise. I don't think they, need to get praised too much, or at least not as much as, they do tend to get praised. And as for the fanboys, I think a lot of them need to just kind of tone down their behavior a bit. And I think that'll make them a lot more liked among, the internet. Now, for a hateum, I think they're the ones who really need the most help, because what they do, just going out of your way so heavily to just dislike anything as far as I'm concerned, is one of the most unhealthy mentalities you can ever have. Well, looks like my video size is ending. You all have a great day.